And hey everybody, want to welcome you to this week's special edition of the Get Your Geek on podcast. Why is it special? Because we've been off for 2 weeks, so we got some great stuff to get through here. So as always, we are your host, Chuck Kiwacz. And silence falls upon the crowd.
I'm sorry, Robert Dokes.
I'm sorry, Robert Dokes, too. I'm Anthony.
Anthony, and we want to thank you guys for joining us. As always, we join you every week to go over the greatest in geek news, reviews, and trailers, and we got a buttload of them to get through this week. So we're going to jump right in with a great segment that we love doing here every week, and that is Sweekly. And we are proud to say we have a new show to add into this segment weekly, and that is Black Lightning, which has now had 2 episodes since we've been off. And I got to tell you, I'm digging it. Like, it's a totally different section of the Arrowverse to me, and it's brutal.
And it's not. Do we know what Earth it's on? It's just out there.
No, they haven't decided that. I think they're waiting to see, like, look at Supergirl. Yeah. For the first, 12 episodes, they're like, Supergirl's its own thing, it's never going to join, and then episode 15 is the Flash crossover.
Yeah, we're going to cross it over with the Flash. No. Oh, man, what do I say about the show? I like every... It because it's a CW, it hurts me. That's the only reason why.
Can we jump? Are we spoiling?
Yeah, we're spoiling. Go right ahead.
I can't believe they killed off that drug dealer guy. I was not expecting him to go that badly.
That's insane to me. I was really...
And his little nephew, when he executed him.
Blasted him. And it was the same thing with that chick's mom. Like,
it's a pretty heavy show.
It's like, they doubled down on the violence. It's like, dude, it was like, look, the moment is like, he was real. He was like, look, the moment the TV cameras are off you, they are going to kill you.
Yep.
And that was the thing, and then her setting up the camera and that coming back to be the way that they caught him and stuff like that. But then I'm even loving the stuff that they're doing with the whole his daughter starting to develop her powers and stuff like that. Like, it looks like she's going to have a little bit of a different power set than him.
Super strength.
Yeah, because I don't think he has super strength, right? He can just turn. But then what's the deal with it? Looks like his powers hurt him. Like, what was the deal with that seizing up his body and stuff like that?
I think that's because it was all coming back. It's not.
He hadn't used them in 9. Like, the whole point is what they're saying is he hadn't used those in 9 years. And so the idea is his body's old, everything is old, and it hurts.
Yeah, and supposedly he had hardcore addictions to his powers, but now,
which is something I've never really seen before, in comics done. So it's I'm kind of interested to see what they do about that. But the other thing that I really love about this show is the family dynamic, where it's being the Flash kind of portrayed it with Iris being oh, I can't have it both ways and this and that. But it's dude, it is being Black Lightning could very well rip his family apart forever.
Oh, yeah. No,
and it's
that second episode was like this. It was he's this is my fault. It's I could have done something and I didn't.
And it's even when he has that speech, he's I have this fantasy that when they leave me, they're better, and their lives go on to be better than they were when they got to me and stuff like that. And then to see the reality that it wasn't that, and that he's known for the past 9 years these people have suffered because he's put his powers on hold. But then on that same time, his family is going to be falling apart if he does. But then I want to see how they bring his daughter and I can't wait for her to tell him, for her to have her hands flash up the first time they showed in that premiere trailer, and for her to have to go to him because they've already shown her suited up, so you know it's going to happen soon. But I think it's going to be badass. But here's the real question: in this universe, knowing that it's this much darker and stuff, do you guys still see room for them to potentially bring in Static Shock, or is it too dark?
It's too dark.
No.
Really?
Nope. I think they still can. I think they still can.
And let's see here. Danny, go ahead and ask away your question. And the greatest thing about Black Lightning, I think, really is the suit. I love how badass the suit is. I love that he keeps charging up, as he moves through the hotel and stuff like that. That was a little thing that I noticed, going back and watching it live, just every time he moves through a room, the light will zap into his suit and stuff that. So it's
I like his suit that he had in all that footage that they're showing.
Yeah,
classic suit.
Because it's the bald head, and it's this is what Black Lightning used to look like.
Here's the biggest deal, man. How does his best friend cop not realize that's him?
Maybe he does.
When they break it, how can he literally is only wearing goggles. He's got the beard, the shaved head, and everything. And it's Green Lantern syndrome for me.
It's Clark Kent.
Do you think just because I can't see your cheekbones that I wouldn't realize that it was you? Hey, Michael, thanks for joining us. Why am I not seeing any Facebook viewers when I look online? Do you see a number?
I'm not either, yeah. I have a number, but I'm not getting comments like you are.
Yeah, so it's weird because we wanted to be able to bring in some viewers, but it may not let us here because it's not telling me a number.
Yeah, we have 4.
We have 4.
Oh, so then you can click yours. Click that 4.
See the character from back in the day? This is just him years later. Yes.
Yes, that's very much so. And then I'll try it on Anthony's when we get to the point where we want to bring Danny in. But Black Lightning, I think it's such a different... I think it's what Arrow should have been.
That's what Arrow should be now.
That's what I said. Like
After
it's
That's what Arrow
years.
started out.
Think about
started out
Arrow
with.
took like 4 seasons to get like really dark and gritty and like murder people and stuff like that. And even then, it's all side characters and B-listers. Like they went right in with Black Lightning. They're like, dude, we've done this 5 times now. Like we know how to put this formula together, but it's still something so distinctly different.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I'd really like to see is I want to see if they're going to expand on his powers at all. Like you saw the episode for next week, like he's tuning up that new gun that he's got. So it's like they're going to find ways to upgrade his powers and make it cool and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's so brilliant to air it after Flash because I feel like they pair together
They do
very,
pair together
very
well. Yeah.
Especially with what Flash is doing right now with the whole like Barry in jail storyline.
It's like eating sweet and salty.
It really
nice,
is.
yeah.
Like it's a perfect comp. So I understand bumping Legends, but as we move in here, naturally, I mean that's a perfect segue for us to talk about Flash, man. First of all, we had the trial of the Flash episode. Classic comic book storyline.
Went really fast. Thought it would be at least a 2-parter.
Really, but I gotta tell you, I was okay with it. And like one of my favorite scenes now in the entire show is where Iris is about to reveal him, and he does that moving so really cool. fast, and he's like, he even says himself, he's like, I'm not even sure how I'm doing this, and then. Can we just get right into it? Like Dawn Allen. Can we just move on right to her?
Yeah.
It has to be her now because of the fact she's moving the language from him. But can we just talk about how awesome that is? That
maybe she'll be Impulse. Maybe they'll just make her
like
Impulse.
seeing her at the wedding. Like I was like, I definitely think that's
Dawn Allen.
It's like she's looking at him, looks like she's looking at her father. But then seeing that at the coffee shop, where she's like, she had to, because you could tell it's a kid meeting the heroes that she grew up hearing about. Yeah. So it's like that coming to real life, like, oh my god, it's you guys, and then help out a stranger and this and that. But then when she went back to the notebook and started drawing the symbols, the same thing as Barry coming out, I'm like, yeah, it's her. No,
you think she's the one that says this house is bitchin'?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's hands down her. And now we've seen the behind the scenes of the show showing that Iris suits up as a speedster, which leads us to believe that the pregnancy thing is going to carry on for her too, because we know Cecile, Joe's wife, gets powers next episode. She can read people's minds from her pregnancy.
What?
So it seems like the Iris.
Pregnancy activated her metagene?
Yeah, apparently. So, and then
everyone gets
Iris, it's only temporary. She only gets them while she's pregnant.
Okay.
So apparently they're going to do the same thing with Iris. That Iris is going to be pregnant with the twins, and that she's going to get speedster powers from it. Mm-hmm. And it's just for one episode. But
oh boy,
I've seen the suit. It looks cool. Like it's a black and silver suit.
I just don't want to see Iris in a costume.
It looks cool. Like I gotta say, it looks cool.
I just don't like Iris. I think she's kind of a jerk.
I think it's Goldberg is in the episode. I actually liked him though.
I like
Goldberg. I love the Big fight scenes, dude. Him stopping the riot in like a half a second was awesome. But then like when he had to wait for the camera to move, and then he's doing like the slow mo fight moves to make sure everybody missed, but then it would look good. Like if you watch every move he did so that it would look on camera like he was just good at like ducking punches and stuff like that. So I was like, they are finding such creative ways to use his powers this season.
Also really like Ralph. Ralph is great.
I'm loving him.
His new suit's awesome.
His new suit's awesome, but I'm loving it. Like next week's episode, Honey, I Shrunk Teen Flash looks absolutely incredible. But I gotta love it. Like the team dynamic of the show really fits in well this year. Iris, I still think is the weak link for me.
It's horrible.
But I gotta tell you, I love Killer Frost, how they found the balance to be able to bring her in and out of it. The best thing they could have done with that character, and I love it. And I love that like Cisco just has the little trigger words now for her.
It's like, oh no,
Lucy Audible.
So no, you had to have laughed at this because I thought about you when I watched it. Since it was Super High. Was Super High? She was like she was Nature Girl Super High. It's like Forest of the creatures.
You know what I laughed at? I thought it was so corny, but I couldn't stop laughing. At the beginning of this week's episode, it had the jail cell, and it said Henry Allen was here, and then it was so like, so was Barry.
I love that.
So goofy.
I loved it, though. Like, I thought it was so fun, and I love that he's doing the little to carve the days into the cell and stuff like Barry. That. But then, like, just him having that, like, the guy messing with him, like, you smudged my Pumas. Like that whole moment playing out in real life.
It's like,
and then him waiting for his visit, like, it's like, I can't wait to see how they're going to get him out. Like, that's the whole thing. It's like, they've put him in there and, like, taken away every life. Like, DeVoe is his best villain by far.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
But you can totally see the wife breaking. Like, we called that from the beginning. The moment he changed bodies, like, the wife is looking at him totally different. And you can tell, like, she can't even stand kissing him.
Yeah. Or touching him. Really.
Yeah, dude, I love it. Like, I love that she's going to be the one to turn and probably help them build the cerebral inhibitor. But Dawn Allen was something that if you gave me 10 seasons, I would have never thought this show would have brought in. So to me, that is so huge because they're not just dropping these hints for nothing. This show never does anything small. So
no,
it's like,
the idea is she keeps, when they showed Kendra Saunders and it was like, oh, look, and it's like, hey, don't forget to say I do. Who is this random girl of biracial descent? It's like, wait.
And we forgot here.
2 months ago, she was just a barista.
I had to go back and actually look it up, but 6 weeks ago, when we first heard that Legends of Tomorrow was adding a new character, We all took a guess as to who it was, and Anthony was absolutely correct. You called it was going to be Wally. Yeah, and so Wally has been confirmed to be the new series regular on Legend of Tomorrow. And I'm interested to see what they're going to do with him because he's the new most powerful member of the team now that Firestorm's gone. And anything we saw from the Crisis Man, he knows how to use his powers now. Like, he was doing some badass stuff at that wedding fight. So
he was one of the best parts of the crossover.
I think it's going to really uplift that show because I feel like Firestorm being lost was a huge cornerstone of that show. Because there's two major characters. But I think Wally brings like the enthusiasm and the optimism of Barry.
And they don't have to make him fly, so it's cheaper.
Exactly. So, but I'm interested to see what they do with it. And
all you have to do is this.
Danny writes he thinks that Iris should stay pregnant like the Octomom to keep her powers. But that only works like if you stay with Barry because he's the only meta. But let's see here, Supergirl. I got to tell you, man, the scheduling is gonna mess with Supergirl because it's getting good. Like, the Legion is badass. Brainiac 5 and his relationship with Supergirl are incredible. The Mon-El dynamic is great. And then she assembled an all-girl team this past week, and it was awesome. It was her, Psy, Livewire, and Saturn Girl. And they had to, like, go to this planet to take Fort Ross, like, back. And it was just so incredible to, like, get information about Rain. And, like, she didn't have her powers there, so she had to rely on the other members of the team. So badass. But Rain is developing to be, like, an incredible villain. Now they're introducing a second world killer, Purity, and the Pestilence. Those are the other two that they're doing. So really interested to see what they're doing. They're basically setting up two Justice League teams to fight each other. You're going to have Supergirl's team with the Legion and all the people she's built up, and then Rain's team with Purity, Pestilence, and, like, the couple religious people she's got. So it's setting up to be really cool, but I guarantee you, I think they're setting up to bring Superman back in. It just feels like that's where they're going with this. Like, they need that help with the second Kryptonian because he's dealt with Doomsday in this show. Like, they mentioned, like, how Clark almost died in his fight with Doomsday. So I think that they're going to bring him in at some point because Tyler Hoechlin was caught at the Vancouver airport like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a fan got a picture with him at like 3 a.m. And he hasn't been citing any set pictures or anything like that, but there's no other reason. He's not doing any other shows or anything right now where there'd be a reason for him to be in Vancouver.
Give him a Superman show.
Can we just say that, like, honestly, I think that I'd rather that at this point. Like, if they keep them riding up with Supergirl, like, we really don't know what's going to happen with Andrew Kreisberg gone now. His episodes, he's still got, like, 5 more episodes that were his before we get into new territory. And we really don't know. Keep in mind, Flash and Supergirl haven't been renewed yet.
How would you feel about getting rid of a bunch of the shows, making new shows, and then just having a Justice League show?
I think that would be incredible.
With, like, the main cast of the shows now.
I think that would be incredible. Mash them up, man. Like, do it. Like, because the crossovers are your biggest hits. Because that shows you, like, people, as much as they love the individual characters, it's very hard and to know that these characters are out there, but then have them have to do these solo missions.
Yeah, it's like,
it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
like, that's why Ant-Man, that's
like
one of my favorite moments.
Too.
He's like, what is the first thing you think we should do? And he's like, I think we should call the Avengers. Like, I just love it because it's like, they finally acknowledge it's like, yeah, there's other people out there. Like, can we call Green Lantern, Superman, like anybody that could crush Metallo? Somebody? Like, we know Barry.
Daniel asks us, which Superman do we like better, movie Superman or Supergirl Superman? It depends on the movie, though.
It depends. I love Henry Cavill in Justice League. Like, as much as I love Man of Steel, they brought him to the comic book Superman in Justice League. So I really love Cavill's portrayal. But then again, I feel like for the TV version, Hoechlin is a badass Superman. Yeah. Like, he's got that campy side. Like,
wait, we're not counting Dean Cain, right?
We're not, because I
Brendan
can't.
Roth.
No, but like, as much as Superman has like that dark, moody, like the Cavill Superman, Hoechlin couldn't be the more polar opposite. He is that campy, dorky,
Golden Age Superman.
Jiminy Willikers like Superman. Which, as much as it's like so ridiculous, I kind of love. Like, because it's like that's the Superman
my favorite
I grew up
Superman.
on.
Yeah,
like he's the shirt tearing, like ducking out of the back alleys with his glasses crooked Superman, and I love it. Like, so I would watch a show that, and I love even his costume.
Is a nerd.
His Clark Kent is
Henry
such a
Cavill's
nerd.
Clark Kent is an underwear model.
That's exactly like everyone wants to bang Henry Cavill, and then you're like, but that's the thing is like I believe Hoechlin would fit in a crowd.
No, and that's the idea. That was the big thing. Is like Tyler Hoechlin's like, it's my cousin, and it's like Clark Kent, are you still hanging out with Lois Lane? And it's like, yeah, and he's
rewatching Supergirl. Like, one of the moments where they just casually mention at the DO after Wynn started working there. Like, he's just sitting there working on the computer, and like, oh, I remember when Clark fought him, and he just puts together. He's like, wait. Clark Kent is Superman? Like, and he can't let it go for the whole episode. He just keeps, every time they got to him, he's like, I can't believe Clark Kent is Superman. Like, and it's just that realization. It's like, really? You can't believe that this, away from this? Is that hard to believe? Like now I get why
it's
Black
the personality, because Clark's known as like this bumbling oddball who just like trips over his own shoes constantly.
Yeah.
It's such a good show, man. And then, see, and Danny writes, that's the Superman everyone grew up with, campy, goofy, nerdy one. And that's the show it brings that to incarnate, like, and then the whole, like, his idea of, like, take the kryptonite away and everything, the few moments he's had on the show, it's so perfect because it's like you just want to see more of him. And it's like that's the same thing with Martian Manhunter. It was cool at first that you had Martian Manhunter, but now you find a way to depower him every episode so this way that Kara can be the hero, because in Martian Manhunter he's toe to toe with Superman. People forget that.
Probably
but
more
even the actor
powerful.
that plays him, he said he gets sick of them finding ways to, like, cripple him per episode so this way he can't really do anything. Like,
It's like,
I would do a Martian Manhunter show.
yeah.
I don't think that would last.
I wouldn't, but
No,
like
but
a
you
one
do it
season-
limited series. Limited series.
Run a 6-episode Netflix
Yeah,
series.
why don't they do that? They
Limited
should make
se-
6-episode little shorts.
Why wouldn't, like, honestly, like, the way that Marvel has gone to Netflix, why wouldn't DC go to Netflix for, like, Elseworld series? Where you could just do these little one-off, your own little world series.
especially once Marvel pulls all their stuff to make their own service.
Exactly.
There's going to be a huge vacuum.
And it makes sense. It's like, dude, you could take the writing teams that you have, you know that they would put this stuff together, like, and you could tell these characters, like, with gritty, dark stories because you have the Netflix ratings. So it's like you can go as dark as you want or as campy as you want. Like, look at it. I mean, there's the animated Voltron, which people love, and then you can go as dark as, like, Luke Cage and Daredevil and stuff. And it's like, people love the balance, but I just think that something like a Nightwing series...
Oh,
The variety.
What about like a Cheers style series with Guy Gardner running a bar after he's depowered?
That would be badass. But it's like, that's the little things that you could even do in Flash and stuff like that. Like, Killer Frost is working at that bar in her side time and stuff like that. You could just casually name drop Guy Gardner. It's like, then just start world building. You know what I mean? And then if you take it somewhere, great. But if not, you've got these little characters you can maybe use in next year's crossover and stuff. Because it seems like every year now with the crossover, they like to bring in a different character from the comics. Like this year they had the Ray.
Yeah,
and like
which was cool. He was great.
I loved it, but it's just like, why not just get us to the Lantern finally? It's like you dropped that enough, but I really think that if you don't renew the big shows, especially if you don't renew Arrow or Legends, just bring the characters over. Like, just import them, and you're going to make a show that
They have
people are going
amazing
to watch.
chemistry anyways.
The Legends, like, as great as they are, like, I'm going to see what Wally adds to that team, because I really didn't like Zari.
Is she gone?
No, she's still there.
Yeah,
and it's
she's
like,
obnoxious.
she's kind of like the useless chick. Like, as much as
It's because
it's
they
like,
don't want to say ISIS.
yeah, really. She's like,
They just don't want to say ISIS.
it's like the moment they picked her, they were like, "Yeah, her name is Zari now. All right, that's what it's gonna be."
Yes, Martian Manhunter would be the best detective show. You're right.
But that's the thing. It's like Smallville kind of did justice to him as a detective because he was a recurring character.
They could
on
do
there as a
like it. They
detective.
could do it like what was that Darwin Cook DC series, The New Frontier, where he was just like this gritty noir detective in the 50s. That was awesome.
And let me see.
I mean, you know what I'd like to see? The Spectre.
We almost got him with on the Constantine show.
Yeah.
He was like getting there, and then they got canceled, which is
But
too
now
bad.
he's
That's a
coming-
show
well,
that they should really
He
bring.
comes
like
back
that,
on Legends this
Yeah,
week.
he comes back
or
on
next
Legends.
week, sorry.
But no,
Constantine.
Oh yeah, see,
Constantine. But the idea
I
is
would
like
love to see the Constantine
like
show.
You
this
can't do
is-
Spectre and not have Hal Jordan.
Well, here's the deal. Why don't they just make like a? Because this is all the rage right now. Why doesn't DC just make an anthology horror series? They could do a Swamp Thing episode, a Constantine episode, and just keep revolving them.
Yeah, I would. Exactly. Like do a Black Mirror with DC superheroes.
Yeah.
And
Well, Tales from the Crypt is a DC comic.
Speaking of Black Mirror, real quick, have you guys seen the USS Callister episode?
It's the best.
Dude, they're talking about a spinoff for
I
that.
know. That episode amazing.
That episode's crazy, and what people
you
don't
watch the show?
realize is
I
the
do.
chick
I
that's
haven't
the
wa-
main.
I've watched that.
The chick that's the main chick in the episode,
Wow,
Kristen
wow, wow,
Milioti,
wow.
is the mother from How I
I
Met Your
know.
Mother.
Wait, do you have to? I'm not going to spoil it for you. Do you have to go straight through? You can jump around.
I can't jump around, but I just am like
Just watch that episode.
I just like when we talk about some of the other shows, I haven't done my homework, and I have a large list of things I need to watch on Netflix.
So let's talk about the end of that episode.
Yeah, so no, it's probably, like I watched the Pig one recently. I had never watched it, and I was like, I'll
really?
just watch it to watch it. I'm like, that's so unrealistic because like, oh, the Queen's turned her back. We can't guarantee your family's safety and shit. That I'm like, fuck them, I'm out of here, bro. I am not doing this. I don't even know this chick. Like, but it's just ridiculous.
Also, yes, Kristen Milioti, she was amazing in that.
She was
episode.
incredible. So was Jesse Plemons, though.
Yeah, he was
like
amazing.
Holders and Jimmy Wilson, I think is his name, and he plays one of the McPoyles on It's Always Sunny.
Yep.
You will call her. Like, I just love what they're doing with that show. Speaking of which, it was announced that Glenn Howerton is returning to the season of It's Always Sunny. They start
No
filming in
surprise.
April. So
No surprise.
well, they were all worried about his show AP Bio taking off with Patton Oswalt, and then it's like, dude, you can do other things. Everybody else does multiple things. Like Caitlin Olsen's got the Mick, which is a huge hit, which I don't understand why, because it's terrible.
Because it's her.
It's her.
It really is.
She has
It's
a
only
phone.
her that brings that
She
show.
looks like a bird.
But so Supergirl, as we were talking about, they're doing great stuff with the Legion, so I'm really looking forward to see what they're doing with it. And they've released Mon-El in costume. They're finally putting him in his comic book costume. He's like the full red with the pin, cape, everything. So I'm really interested to see what they do with that. But the one show that, unfortunately, these two bastards haven't been watching yet, but I'm hoping some of you at home have. The Gifted wrapped up its first season, and holy crap, was that finale incredible.
I'm going to watch it.
I came up with it like before I launched into anything.
I forgot to do my homework check. I was like, we just need to at least watch one episode.
You even sent me your Hulu login.
That's all you need is the first episode. But they blew it, put on our outlet like, Chuck, tell us why we should continue to watch. So I came up with, before we went on there, 6 words that are going to make you want to watch this show. And here we go. Number 1, Polaris. Absolutely insane what they do with her. The Hellfire Club. Never thought I would care about it. So cool. The Hound Program, where they turn mutants against other mutants to like experiment on their powers. Insane. The Stepford Cuckoos, the clones of Emma Frost. Huge role to play. Thunderbird, my new favorite X-Man.
These are your 6 words?
And Fenris. Yeah, so it's Polaris, Hellfire, Hounds, Cuckoos, Thunderbird, Fenris.
He's literally got those.
Emma Frost?
Emma Frost. No, it's not her. It's the clones of her. No. She's mentioned. So the old Hellfire Club, Emma Frost, all them, they're mentioned. Like, so the old Hellfire Club and the old X-Men have disappeared. Before they disappeared, they each recruited team members to like help rebuild if they ever disappeared. So there's these members of the Hellfire Club and then these members of the X-Men's unit that over the course of the season end up having to work together.
So are they connected to the X-Men universe?
Yeah, very much so.
And the X-Men have disappeared?
Oh, yes, very much so. And like Polaris being Magneto's daughter is a huge part of the show.
Like
and
this is post...
her reclaiming her throne.
Post-apocalypse?
Oh, yeah. So it's
post Days of Future Past?
Over the course of the season, they're all being put up against the Sentinel program, which is now creating the Hound program to like use mutants against each other. And they've captured the Strucker twins. So the Strucker twins are the new mutants, the main characters of the show. They're Fenris from the comics, if you know that. They've each got their individual powers, but when they combine them, they create like this crazy destructive force. So they get caught finally over the course of the season, and then the government figures out a way to use their powers with the Hound program, so then they can take 2 mutants with like very simple powers, but combine them to make shit super crazy. So they start doing that with people, and then these 2 factions, the Hellfire Club and then the X-Men, end up having to come together at a point to fight together.
So
but
the
then
Gifted they're the X-Men.
And then at the end of the season, they end up splintering into 2 new factions. Like people change sides and things get split up, and there's like big twists, and it's like you don't see it coming. But it's like season 2 is going to be rearing to go as like the new X-Men versus the new Hellfire Club, and then they've changed everything with the government. Like they do this big government attack at the end. You know what? Screw it. Like it's been like 3 weeks. I'm spoiling it. So the very end of the season, like Polaris turns. She turns on and joins the Hellfire Club, like reclaiming her throne. Magneto actually gave her a piece of his medal on her 13th birthday, and she reshapes it. And like the after credit scene is her reshaping it into a helmet. But she blows up a plane with the senator on it that was going to introduce the new bill to like ban mutants. So literally blowing that up is going to change everything. But then Fenris splits up, like one of the brothers goes to the Hellfire Club, the sister stays with the X-Men, and it's like these all new teams. But it's so incredible. I'm done spoiling, Anthony. But Thunderbird, man, is a character I never cared about, and he is the leader of the X-Men team. Like, his powers are so cool, the way that he can track everything, but him being invulnerable and bulletproof is so friggin' cool. Like, it's used so well. Minor characters like Blink, you totally care about. Dreamer, I don't know if she's from the X-Men. She can, like, remove and add memories to people, like manipulate your memory by, like, blowing this weird smoke in your face. But it's so many like side X-Men that have such cool powers. But then seeing the Hellfire Club like reassemble and like the way that the teams change at the end and everything is so badass, and the way they tie the Sentinel program and Trask and everything from the X-Men universe in there is so incredible.
But then it must tie in with like Legion and everything, right? Because Legion's canon.
Legion's canon, but they haven't decided what Xavier they're bringing in yet. Apparently Xavier's in it this season, but we don't know if we're getting McAvoy or Stewart. They're keeping that super hush-hush. It has to be Stewart.
Yeah, why not?
Like his battle with Shadow King is legendary and stuff like that in that universe, so it has to be like an older. And McAvoy wouldn't make sense for the age. Yeah. Because like it just you have to go with
Stewart would do it.
Stewart, he said he would do it. Like he said when Legion first came out last season, like he was on Conan. He's like, I'm hoping they give me a coal. That's
perfect. That's a really good impersonation.
Do the rest of the episode as Patrick Stewart.
Hello, it's me, Patrick Stewart.
Engage #1. No, it's like
won't make it so. Logan.
I walk around my house doing that all the time. But it's really hilarious. Legion was amazing, dude. Shadow King, I could not wait Dude, like, the end of that show, the way they ended it on the cliffhanger, too, like, that show does not give a about
Everyone
anything
on it
that's
was
come
good.
before it. They're like,
Yeah.
we found a new way to make superhero shows. Half of that season, you didn't even know if it was real. Like, you were really like, what is actually happening
It was
right
so
now? Because of the
cerebral.
way that they were messing with you. And it's literally like an acid trip.
That's coming back soon, right?
Yeah, it comes
Because
back in March.
They just released
Yeah, the first teaser
a
trailer for
brand
it.
new. They just released a brand new Legion comic series.
Dude, I can't wait for that show to come back. And, like, the way that he started to be able to master his powers at the end.
Do you
like,
think they'll ever give him his hair?
Oh, they have to. You
big,
have
tall
to.
hair?
Dude, the way that they've gone deep on, like, the old school stuff with these characters, but it's like, dude, I don't even know really who is.
DBZ might be mad at that.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe it might be when he's like super powerful. His hair just goes
Can
up
anybody
like that.
explain to me
Super
what
Saiyan.
character is that? Who is the doctor from that show that has the chick that he can absorb and they can take each other's damage and stuff? I've never seen a character like that in the comics.
Trying to think.
Is that something they created for the
I have
show?
to rewatch
That's
this.
a
I have to
rude-
rewatch the
You know,
series.
he's the doctor. He's like the main doctor for the good side, like the not Meryl Streep, but the chick that looks like Meryl Streep that runs it. He's the doctor, and he's got that like 16-year-old chick that he absorbs her. Remember, she
Oh,
gets her
yeah,
ass
yeah,
kicked,
yeah.
and then, like
He's
he
just- yeah,
absorbs
yeah.
her, and he takes all the damage. Like, it's a weird character, but it's like I would love to see half of him. Yeah, Danny wrote. They
I'll have
haven't
to
even
look that
shown
up.
half of his powers yet. Think about that.
Oh,
We have
yeah.
not even seen a modicum.
They've just
of
been doing
his
like
powers.
psychic shit.
Yeah,
like
which
the
is like, dude,
telekinesis
wait till you
and
get
stuff.
into everything else. And it's like him being experimented on and everything else like that's just going to make him more powerful. But Jermaine Clement, like, what a huge addition to
Amazing.
that show that he
And
was.
Aubrey
Like,
Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza, who I normally don't like.
Yeah.
I think that she's way too hot
She's a
topic
great man.
managery to me. Like, God, whatever. Like, I'm cool and I know it, and you're
Best
not.
role for me, Audrey Plaza was Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
So good.
So good, and because it's like automatically bleeping her. It's like
I love Scott Pilgrim.
And then Runaways is the other series I know that you guys aren't watching that you should be, which wrapped up its first season. I gotta tell you, a little disappointed because it built up for like 8 episodes. So like, where's the action? Where's the action? All right, here it comes, here it comes. And it very, very little payoff. But the payoff that you do get sets up huge because they completely turn it from the season and take a different direction from the comics.
Robert.
Oh, we finally get our first time with a phone ringing.
In over a year.
And his mom. She's got to take it. Oh, you ignored your mother.
yeah. It's,
His mom's watching this
live
right now.
on air.
Yeah. This is bad for me. So yeah,
Maybe she has a question about Legion.
no.
Yeah. But one of the biggest things with Runaways, minor spoiler alert, is like the big deviation they took from the comics. Is like in the comics, at the very end of like the first book, the kids expose the parents to like the media and stuff like that. And then in this one, they flip it. Like the very end of the season, like as they're about to enforce their plan, like take the parents down, the parents expose them as the murderers of the teens that they have been killing as part of the
Snap.
pride and stuff like that.
So now they're on the run.
So they're on the run.
They're the runaways.
Yeah, so it's like they literally become the runaways at the end of the show. And like, dude, the way that they made the dinosaur work, like Old Lace works perfectly in the show. Everyone's powers make sense. They look awesome. They changed Charlotte's origin a little bit so she's not an alien anymore. They're creepy Scientologists. But it's really, really great, dude. Like the acting.
I liked Lucy in the Sky. That's all. I liked her character.
I'm just telling you, like, anybody will tell you, like, I don't really like child and teenage actors because I don't feel like they can emote and carry storylines well. Every single member of this team pulls it, but Gertie is the best actress on the show. Like, she brings that character from page to screen. Like, it's incredible.
I forgot to add this, but to the outline, but I'm going to bring it up anyway in terms of this, because I was thinking about childhood actors and anybody see the 3-minute clip for Cloak and Dagger?
No.
I didn't see a clip.
No,
but
I
did
saw a
watch,
trailer.
I did see the trailer, and
It's freeform, man. It's going to be all
so
romance and sex.
there is a
Go on.
there is go on. There's a 3.5 minute clip that has been circulating around. It's on Marvel Entertainment, it's on IGN and a few other sites, comic related sites, and it's just like 3 minutes of the show.
should we watch it now while people watch
I will bet money, and I'm going to get this on film right now. I will bet money at some point within the course of the first season of that show, you're going to hear this phrase: "I will fight for you until
yeah.
the very end,
Oh yeah.
and then I'll keep fighting."
Yeah, see, like, okay, what brought, like, being back in the day, like, Cloak and Dagger was just like, oh, this is a runaway comic, but Brian Michael Bendis's run of or depiction of those characters in the Marvel Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, they were great in that.
That was the best depiction, and that's the one I'm
Is
like.
this going to be more like that? Though?
Can I tell you
No,
what movie
nope,
the trailer
nope,
we have?
Because they lasted forever, even like post most Marvel.
Yeah, like
Ultimate.
that was like his run of them, and the way he put them in, along with the one in the Runaways, the version of those. Oh
Man, I missed that cast. Like that cast of characters with like Miles and Jessica Drew.
Speaking of Miles, perfect transition. Have you guys seen the trailer for Spider-Man 2018, the animated Sony movie?
Yeah.
Like it's the Spider-Verse basically. They're bringing in all the versions of Spider-Man from the different
Even
universes.
the movie ones?
Yeah, and it's like it's animated.
Did you
Miles
read
is the main
Spider-Verse?
I loved it.
I loved when they were like, "Hey, that Spider-Man looks like Tobey Maguire."
I loved it.
So
But like they're bringing in Spider-Gwen, like everything in this
That's
animated
awesome.
movie. I'm like, yeah, it looks really, really cool.
It's like there's a moment there in the trailer where it's Miles and Peter sitting in the it's like, so how many of us are there?
Is that theatrical?
Yeah, it's theatrical. It's Miles Morales. We're seeing Miles
Who's
Morales.
playing him? Donald Glover?
No.
That's what I thought.
I don't know who the voice actor is.
Don Glover's too
Doesn't
busy
matter.
doing Simba right now.
Yeah, right.
That movie's gonna be incredible. But another show that got renewed besides The Gifted and Runaways, I can't believe it. The Tick got renewed for a second season on Amazon.
I liked it.
I gotta tell you, I'm not a fan.
I mean, I love the Tick. So
But
I love the cartoon show. I love the one with Putty. I like the one that they've done on Amazon. So
yeah,
that's
I was a fan of the Tick.
just,
The other thing Danny writes about Legion too, which is a great point. He goes, "I don't want him to get control of his powers. The point is that each personality has its own powers."
Yeah,
and, like
of
I
course.
like that the unpredictability of not
See that
knowing like
happen,
who
I'm
you're
sure.
going into battle
Wait,
with.
who
and
are you
stuff like that.
booing, Daniel?
Yeah, who is that boo for? But let's see here. Yeah, the Tick. Oh, I know for a fact Danny doesn't like the Tick. He's a fan of the original. Yeah, he loves the original Tick.
It's too bad.
Yeah, but so Jessica Jones season 2 photos are released. I gotta tell you, I'm getting pumped for season 2 of
Can't
that.
wait.
I think that's the best of the Netflix shows, hands down, and I'm excited because it's basically Law and
I
Order.
mean, I loved it just as a show in general, not even as
without
like
the
a cartoon.
superpowers.
Yeah,
Like you
exactly.
could take the superpowers out of it. It's a great psychological thriller.
yeah. It's the idea is like she's trying to sort out her crap.
And then we got some new trailers, and I got to tell you, the first one in my new segment, Movies That Will Suck, is going to be the new Tomb Raider trailer.
Disagree.
Oh my God! Like you saw
disagree.
every great part of that movie in that trailer.
Hard disagree.
They showed way too much, and she gets way too much damage, and they're not showing it. Like we
That's
talked
the-
about how we
yeah.
wanted like the Laura
That sounds
limping
like
at the end, and like
that sounds like Lara Croft to me.
no, when she goes diving into that tsunami wave with just
Yep.
the pack, I was like, oh
Sounds
Jesus
about right.
Christ! Like I had hope for Assassin's Creed. I have no hope for this movie.
Yeah. So like, yeah.
can't wait.
That's his wife, by the way.
I can't
I
wait.
know,
It's like, what did the agent pitch to Michael Fassbender and Alicia Vikander? It's like, hey, we have these 2 video game movies for you.
You want to give him?
one-
That's the thing, though. I feel like if it's bad, it's a waste of her talent.
Another movie that's definitely going to suck, and it's going to be a huge, huge studio flop. I think is
Black Panther.
Ready Player One.
Oh, really?
I think that'll do really well overseas,
I-
but I don't think there's an audience for it here.
I-
I feel like Wreck-It
I-
Ralph stole that audience.
Well,
Especially
I
with
agree
Wreck-It
with you.
Ralph 2 coming out this year.
I agree with you for the most part on that one, but I think the idea is I think they know that they're tapping into something immediate.
I feel like that movie just looks like Wreck-It
They're-
Ralph meets Tron.
Yeah,
that's that movie.
But
That's that
all
movie.
they're thinking is this: how much money can we make before the next movie that's the next big thing that comes out? And they're just going to collect their cash for the week, and that's going to be it.
And I'm calling it now. My dark horse movie of the year for box office is going to be The Incredibles 2. I think that movie makes $1 billion.
Absolutely.
I think
Well, that's not a sleeper.
No, I
That's-
think that
that's
is
a
like,
smash hit.
like
That's
only 2 Pixar movies have cracked $1 billion. It's only been Finding Dory and Toy Story 3.
Dude, no, I think that's a slam dunk. I think anybody who underestimates.
I don't think they really understand how big the audience for this movie is, because you have all of us that grew up on it, all the kids that have watched it since, but then all the superhero nuts that have wanted like a Fantastic Four movie.
You can't make a superhero movie that makes
that
under
was
$1
the
billion
Fantastic
anymore.
Four movie.
That's
That
not true.
literally-
Justice
well, you
League
know what I
finished
mean.
at 655, less than Man of Steel. So that's devastating. But another trailer that we got, I'm super pumped for, Super Troopers 2.
I didn't watch the trailer.
We got the red band trailer for it. It looks
didn't watch
incredible.
it. I don't
the
think I'm
whole-
gonna.
Dude, the whole premise of the movie is there's a small town in Canada that they find out is actually part of Vermont, so they have to phase out the Mounties of that town and then like deal with the citizens having to become Americans.
All right.
And it looks hilarious.
Yeah,
and then
I
when
don't
you
think I'm
know
gonna
that
watch
it's
the trailer.
filmed 20 minutes down
Yeah,
the road
yeah.
in Hamilton, like
I'm just gonna go and clean and watch it like I did.
and
with
it comes
First
out on
Wars.
420 if it couldn't be more appropriate.
Whoa, brother.
I know, but it's just so perfect. Like, and the fact that it's getting theatrical is great. And then we did get a new Jurassic World 2 trailer, which I gotta tell you, I like. I was wondering how they were going to come up with the storyline of, like, how you're going to make a second movie. And the whole idea of going in and trying to save some of the dinosaurs.
No!
It makes sense.
Take 'em out.
It
No,
makes
no, no,
sense.
no, dude. See,
If it's stupid white people doing stupid white people stuff, that's a logical reason for it. Like, I fell in love with this carnivorous monster that wants to kill me.
It's like
that's stupid white people shit.
It's falling down the YouTube rabbit hole. It's like, hey, I own a wildcat. I own a serval, an ocelot. I have a lion for a pet. No, this is a wild animal. Why
Anytime
would
I
you?
hear Ocelot, I just think of Archer.
Yes. It's like, maybe she give it something to play with. It's like, instead of leaving it in the corner of a room somewhere. No, you don't do that. No, what do you do? No, this movie should never happen. Give us another reason to go say, the dinosaurs. Give us something else. Crash a little kid like you did in the other one. Put something else in danger. Don't go to save a creature.
It's pretty dumb, dude.
It's like, no, that shouldn't be the premise of the movie. We're gonna go save the dinosaurs. No, they were destroyed for a reason by the comet Kiwacz for.
This is Robert's Alex Jones.
Really? Then, Danny writes that he thinks Hilary Swank would make a good Laura Croft. No, she wouldn't, because she'd go around the whole movie like, I'm a girl,
I'm Hilary Swank.
Alice and Boys Don't Cry. But Rampage, he thinks, is going to be a sleeper hit.
Nah.
I think that'll do well on DVD and internationally. Yeah. That's a good international movie.
Huge.
Pacific Rim 2, we got a new trailer for, and I got to tell you, I'm so hyped for that movie. It's ridiculous. I don't care about plot. It's giant robots versus giant monsters. What more do you need? Mm-hmm. Just go into that movie for what it is. And I'm so excited. Charlie Day's back. They've got main character John Boyega. Looks like a great take on Idris Elba's son. And the fact that now the kaiju can combine Megazord style into one giant monster is going to be so cool. And they've got this cool storyline that I can't wait to see of this little 13-year-old girl that built her own Jaeger called Scrapper. She literally from battles has gone around and because she's like, I don't want to be left vulnerable. I don't want. She has no one, so she's like, I don't want to have to rely on anybody but me. And builds her own friggin' Jaeger that can do these crazy things. I mean, it's like that. It's like she built her own Transformer. And the thing is, with a Jaeger, you're only supposed to be able to pilot it with at least 2 people, because you need to be able to share the. And she found a way to. So that's why she gets brought in as a huge member of the team, because her technology can build on to what they've already come up with. She's like a child prodigy, and then they've got this whole new generation of Jaeger pilots they have to train because the war has been reignited. And that's why I like that there's someone on there. So I think it's going to be Charlie Day. I think he's the secret villain, because someone on our side reopened the portal to let them in.
I think it was the other guy.
His partner that was super jealous. That would make sense. But it's so
either that or Ron Perlman.
Say what you will, the first Pacific Rim movie is a great movie. It's got a thorough plot. It makes sense. There's great heroic moments, incredible action scenes, and then you buy into the humor and stuff like that with Charlie Day. It's he's that awesome comedic relief. But I'm just so looking forward to it. We did get some delays in some movies, although it was announced that Deadpool 2 is moving up to May 18th because they want to be able to compete with Infinity War.
Well, yeah, all right.
Yeah,
why are you doing that? Leave it in June.
No, they moved it up, so it's coming out May 18th now, literally 10 days after Infinity War.
Wow.
So, yeah, by the time pre-screens start.
So dumb. Hey, what was the big announcement with Infinity War yesterday? Was it a new trailer?
No, it was just a Canadian sneak peek, which had no new footage. I was so pissed at that because they announced everywhere 100 days and they're playing that Avengers theme, which, by the way, I have gone to probably 8 movies in the past month, and every time the Infinity War trailer plays, I get goosebumps at the end, when that orchestra kicks in.
You're like, I want to go.
Look, I got goosebumps just talking about it now.
It's like you go there and you're like.
That's that final scene of the Wakanda scene of Cap, Black Panther, Hulk.
Oh, and all doing it?
I just realized now War Machine's in that frame too. War Machine's flying in with them in that scene.
Everybody.
That just looks so. And then the scene of because you realize that when Peter Parker looks out the window and they see that giant spinning thing hovering. That's the thing that you then see him jump and land on and stand up in the Iron Spider suit. And they've confirmed that he's going to have the tentacles, which I can't wait to see. That is.
I like the fact that immediately says, "Oh, you complained about spider sense, huh?"
I've rewatched. I rewatched Ragnarok this week because the digital version leaked early, and I got to tell you, after rewatching that and the Infinity War trailer, there is no doubt in my mind that's Hulk and the Hulkbuster. Because not only did I see the green in the neck, the way he lands, when he's in the Hulkbuster suit, that is exactly how the Hulk lands when he's jumping. So I'm so pumped for that. But dude, this movie is going to be game changing, and we're getting closer to it. But Black Panther started releasing clips and behind the scenes, and I gotta tell you, the first clip came out. Did you see it?
I don't watch any of that stuff.
So the first clip,
I don't watch like.
so the first clip is the
alright,
scene
so,
from the
like,
trailer where he's running, and then the suit forms around him, and then he flips onto the back of the car, and then like they shoot the car, and he jumps.
There's
like,
gonna be
lands on
so
it.
much flipping on
Dude,
cars.
they
in that
show
movie.
that, and like they explain the newest, coolest part of the scene. So not only do his 16-year-old sister driving this hologram car to like chase behind him and stuff like that, he's getting lit up with bullets. And
does he absorb the energy?
That's the thing. You see it happen for the first time.
She's like,
and you see the suit just start getting more and more purple and purple and purple. And then she explains, she's like, Robert, go ahead. Like,
it's like she's like the whole thing is this. Not only the fact that like one Chuck and I were talking about. Shuri is his guy in the chair. So it's this. And she's like, "There's like Shuri, something do it now. Grab the car." It's like, what side of the road is it on?
And then a whole different part of that scene that we didn't even talk about, that we didn't get to see, is freaking Michonne is right with Black Panther. Dude, like there's this thing where like they hit her and she's got no armor, and then she flips around, like grabs a javelin, like impales the car, like so best. But to see her explain the energy and him use it for the first time,
it's like so you're fully charged, and that scene that's in the trailer they show. It's like, oh, you thought it was like a car getting hit. No, that's him
detonating.
Oh,
detonating.
yeah,
That's
really?
him detonating.
Like he lands on their car and
like
then
a
detonates
wide
the
whip.
car.
boom.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here you go. And
Damn.
Yeah, and then so like you can tell that's going to be a big addition to it. And then there's a new scene in the behind the scenes featurette where he comes jumping out of a plane, like the Wakanda battle, and he lands and detonates as he lands. So it's just a shockwave that just blows a ton of soldiers away. So I'm like, oh,
sounds
dude,
awesome.
Yeah,
The movie
like that
looks so
movie
good.
is.
When's
gonna
the
be,
release date?
February 15th.
Oh,
Yeah.
so close.
We have our tickets already, man. Like
That's
I'm so
awesome.
pumped for that. But that I think is going to be a game changer. Like, and like I still can't get over the token white guys comment, knowing it's Martin Freeman and Andy Serkis. But I got to tell you, man, like I'm looking forward to see the Forrest Whitaker eye, what direction it takes in this movie.
So, Danny, you talking about is like the DC has no competition for Black Panther.
I think that they wanted it. I think no one wants to take.
Nobody wants
to
to like the same thing with Wonder Woman. Nobody wanted to take away with that. We got to talk about the fact that she got shafted in the Oscars. By the way,
But Logan
got a
I
nomination.
didn't even watch the Oscars.
No, like in the Oscar
nods?
the nods. Yeah,
I'm calling it right now. Shape of Water is going to sweep.
Yeah.
I watched it finally.
Was it good?
It is incredible, dude. Like,
It's scary.
granted, I don't buy the whole moment where she fucks the fish guy.
Is it out digitally?
Yeah.
Alright.
Like, and the
I haven't
Oscar
seen it. I'm
screeners
gonna
are out,
watch
but
it.
like,
Yeah.
I don't buy the whole moment where they actually bang finally. But like, it's such a touching story, so well written and so well acted.
But to answer you, Danny, in terms of like, if there's a character that DC had their moment last year with Wonder Woman, and I think that's their competition. And I think even Marvel respects the fact in DC, like Marvel didn't do anything with Wonder Woman. They just said we're just going to let it happen. The only thing they did after that was then they released the Black Panther trailer. And so,
Well, maybe they thought it would flop anyways.
Black Panther is opening. It's tracking for 120 million openings. So.
like everybody's talking about this because I watched a clip of Forrest Whitaker just like a minute saying like we watched 5 minutes of the film and they had to stop because everybody in the room was crying, and it was like
Black Panther?
Yeah, like
it was
it's a big deal. Like the greatest thing I've seen though is like there's this fan group called Black Fans for Black Panther, and someone just shared a post that they made, and it was like this rules of the Black Panther premiere. It was like, don't bring your loud black cousins, no yelling at the screen. Like we've waited for this forever.
So
like,
I'm not gonna lie. I've talked to this with a roommate. And we're like, okay, he's gonna go see it. I'm like, okay, where am I gonna see this movie? Because the problem is, if I go certain places, stuff is gonna happen. And I'm like,
bitch! Like those people.
stuff's gonna happen, or we're gonna like. I don't want to have a moment. I'm not calling you out on this. Like we're Justice League. We're like.
I gave warning weeks ahead. Like everyone knew
weeks ahead of time. But I just want to be like, it's like. I just don't want to have that moment where I have a horrible story about waiting to exhale. Why my mom took me to see this movie because I'm a black male and 1995 and she didn't want me getting any ideas. Like I don't want to have that moment where two brothers get up of it. Like first scene happens and two brothers just get up and walk out of the film and they're like, girlfriend's like, that's gonna happen to you if you do that to me. I'm like, and they're like, okay. So I don't want to have that kind of moment in the theater. I want to enjoy it and walk away. But if DC is going to come out with like a great movie, I think Wonder Woman was great, but like we've talked about many a times, I think if you're going to do that, probably the next iconic, person you're looking at is Jon Stewart on the Green Lantern Corps. And if you're going to do that, you gotta
Don't
get
even
it.
get. I can't even
You
touch.
gotta get it right. You gotta get it like the Green Lantern Corps. Just right now, you have Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner. You need to get that
Can
right.
I say this much? That, like, if DC has any sense, I know that it's coming out in March. They will put the original after credit scene on the Blu-ray with Kilowog and Tomar Ray waking up Batman. Like that to me, like that scene would have just been such an additional world piece to add in. Like it would have been a perfect after credit scene. But like I've read the full description of it. I want to see it. Like I want to see what it looks like, and I want to see it fully done up. But before we just talk real quick, what are you guys' thoughts on New Mutants being pushed back a year? I think that kills any chance of it being made into the trilogy they wanted.
Yep.
Because they were talking about this horror trilogy. But if you notice that pushed the year, it puts it right to when the Fox deal becomes final.
Yeah.
So I think that they were like, yeah, we're going to give you this because it's already made, but like that's it. Like we're burying it in a different release schedule, and no, that'll be the end.
Well,
of it.
I think that's clearly. I clearly am going back to what we talked about last year with you're like, and like for those who don't see the behind the scenes stuff, like Chuck and I have talks before we get here, and he's like, Chuck's like, you know what we're gonna do? This is Kevin Feige. He's like, don't worry, I'm just gonna clean out the space. We're just making room right here.
Yeah.
Right here. It's okay. No, nothing's wrong. Just leaving a little space.
Don't worry about it. Like it's that whole thing. It's like that. What's going on, man? It's like don't worry about it, man.
Don't worry about it. We're just cleaning out some
It's that
space.
Hans Gruber thing. Like, what do we do when the cops come? Don't worry about it. I have some plan. What do you mean? Don't worry about it. Like, I could go to jail for this. Like,
It's like that's that moment. It's that moment where it's like, you know, we find out Kevin Feige is like the mastermind behind it all, and it's like, you know, that's how I feel about this with this deal. I think they pushed it back for a reason. I think whatever any Fox Marvel properties outside of what they're doing on television right now are going to be in limbo.
I just thought of a great comparison. I feel like the Fox Disney deal was like the last grasp of a desperate marriage. Like, fine, let's have a threesome.
And then they leave you for the other.
Like, we'll bring Fox into the relationship.
I'm
Cut to
actually
6 months and they're like, I can't believe
I'm
they
actually
left me for
I'm
Fox.
seeing Disney now.
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
No.
That would be a great thing for Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds, thank you. You're welcome.
And breaking news that we got today that I actually am a huge fan of: Henry Cavill's Superman set to appear in Shazam.
Thank you. Thank God.
I think that is a
What do you
great
think?
addition to that
What
movie.
do you think? What do you think? And I'm
Now
sorry.
that we have comic book Superman,
yeah,
Yeah.
see, I could see like Superman realizing there's this powerful guy who's just as powerful
well,
as him.
apparently they're doing the
and
full
going to
Marvel
see him.
family. They're doing the full. All the kids are going to
All
get
of
powers.
them?
Apparently, I think. I think at least 2 of them are going to be getting powers throughout the movie. I think one of them might turn and go to the villain side. Mark Strong's playing the villain, by the way. Did you guys hear that? He's like Dr. Demento or whatever like
Dr.
that.
Sivano?
Dr. Savano, that's what it is. And he was like, I got unfinished business in the DC universe, so I'm bringing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so like, but I'm pumped
I
to see
thought
the
his Sinestro was awesome, by the way.
Should have been Sinestro. Yeah.
I-
It's just like
he
can't
can still be
Sinestro.
Sinestro. Yeah.
But what do you guys thought on Superman coming? I think that is a huge
I think
addition to that
that's
movie.
well, the idea is
I want to see more. I want to see more of them.
the big thing we've always talked about is like when you talk about it with the DC shows is like you have this universe now. You can't have separation. It's like, hey, there's something going on. I think having Superman, because that's the Billy Batson, or at least in this particular, they're trying to tell you he like idolizes. Here's somebody that they idolize, and if you don't have him in there.
You know how awesome it'd be, just a little tie-in, if the kids interviewing Superman at the beginning of Justice League was Billy Batson and
Or
his
just
kids.
his like adopted family.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
all right.
the little,
Take
like
that.
how awesome would that be? And like that's the tie back to
That'd be
it.
awesome. We need to see more Superman. He's the signpost
again,
of the DC universe.
Warner
That's
Brothers.
like,
Warner Brothers.
Hold on a minute. Can we just talk about the brilliant idea that I just had? that
Yeah,
is
Warner
like a
Brothers.
total
You
waste?
need to listen to this man right here.
Because everyone complained about that scene, and I'm like, well, what
I love that
scene was?
scene.
I love that scene.
because
That
it's
was like the best
It's
scene.
your first glimpse at the hopeful Superman. I love that they cut out right before he answers too. Like,
And the podcast.
But I
TC. We talk about this almost every single episode.
when does Fantastic Four appear? Well, first of all, we're going to get Fantastic Four in The Incredibles 2,
Yeah,
which
there you
we're
go.
already excited
We'll talk about it after that.
But yeah, other than that, like
No.
I don't really know where they're going to go.
When does it appear in the like? I'll answer this for you. In terms of when does this appear in the Marvel universe? I think whatever explanation they're going to give us for Captain Marvel,
I
that is
think they
going
just
to
bring them in from another universe, an
It's
already
like,
established team.
is like I think
I have an idea
like
for it.
whatever explanation that they're giving for Captain Marvel, because I think that's a key thing here. We have to think about. Why is Captain Marvel taking place in the 90s? So whatever is happening there,
The Secret Invasion. They're not doing the Kree Skrull War and setting it 10 years before anything else in the Marvel universe to set up anything other than Secret Invasion.
But I think that gives them that gives them an opening where they can say stuff happened that the regular MCU is not aware of. And
Yeah, like a No More Mutants.
no,
type deal.
like I said before, I think something happened the way that you could bring this in is you say M-Day happened, Franklin Richards, and...
Here's the real question. When Fantastic Four is eventually brought into the MCU, and I'd love to hear what the fans think of this too, do you go like Fox did with Fan Four Stick, the young team as an origin?
No.
Or do you go with an older...
Can I pitch my idea?
Hold on. I'll get to that in a second. Or do you go with an older team and do an origin story? Or do you do an older, already established team?
Here's my plan. So one day, boom, Breach opens up in New York City. Fantastic Four comes out in their like 60s costumes. Back in the 60s, they were a superhero team, but they didn't do like public superheroics. They were more scientists. One day they got sucked into the negative zone. They've been there this whole time. So they come back and they're, you know, their 60s selves. Because then you get your levity, them adjusting to the times like Captain America. And also they can be a fully established science exploration team.
That
who have superpowers
whole
in a
idea
golden
was
age
better
of
than Fan
superheroes.
Force. They threw $100 million at Fan Four Stick.
All you need, DC.
I would have done it.
He goes, they could have bought me a pizza.
And I would have done it for free.
See, what you have here is DC. You have Chuck, who just gave you an opening for Shazam.
Dude, that's brilliant.
If that shows up, I will be Chuck's personal representation for a lawyer.
I will be marching my way to Warner
If
Brothers
that
Studios.
happens, I will eat an entire pair of socks on this show.
Dude, like,
And then Anthony, Marvel.
everybody tweet this to Jeff Johns. Like, tweet this episode out. I really do think that's a brilliant way to tie in that scene.
Yes, because then, yes, exactly, Danny. So the negative zone opens up, and then you can have the annihilation wave that comes out. They need to figure out how to stop it. Meanwhile, the heroes.
What if you have Doom as like the one guy that didn't get sucked in and has like been biding his time this whole time? This way you have an older, more developed, fully powered up Doom.
Hire us to write the movie.
Wait, we're really crafting a brilliant Fantastic Four movie here right now. Like,
yes,
I like that idea. He's been stranded the whole time while they've been able to experiment.
Do an older Reed
and that was
Richards.
you could make like it was his whole thing to get to the negative zone because he wanted to be able to explore it and be like on the pioneering cutting of that. And the fact that they got sucked in and he didn't for some reason, but still got left with his powers and like just biding his time, trying to figure out a way to get back this whole time.
Scarred.
And then he goes after them because he wants the secrets that they got while they were there. Like he wants to know what they know and everything like that. And that could be like his motivation.
Yeah, you could just be scared that Reed's smarter than him.
And that would buy into the whole Doom,
time.
like he would team up with other villains, but still only care about his motive. Like screw everybody else; they're all pawns in my game. Like, can you imagine Magneto and Doom teaming up in a movie?
Then the movie could be them versus like a Nihilus or something. And it could end with the heralding of Galactus.
Like you don't need to pay billions of dollars here. And can I see your phone real quick? I want to see if we can try to bring Danny in because he's coming in with some great ideas. So I need to be able to click the number. If you just click the number of viewers.
Yeah, it's 3 at the moment.
No, yeah, but you should click it. It should bring up the viewers.
It doesn't.
It's not.
What?
It's not.
Danny, Facebook's being weird for us, man, but we appreciate you lying, sitting here with the comments. Yeah, I wanted to be able to bring him in via video, though. Facebook's being weird. We were supposed to be able to do that, but regardless of the fact, I think what they're going to be doing with Fox and Marvel, I really kind of think Marvel is trying to wrap up their whole slate of stories with Avengers 4. This way they can kind of relaunch their universe a little bit now with the Fox deal and with the new characters that they've established. So
okay, yeah, I can see that.
Well, the Fantastic Four could even be the people that figure out, like, hey, what happened to all the mutants?
Right.
Where were they?
And
they were there when
there's
we were
so
around.
much that you can do now that you have these characters, but you have to do them right. Like you have to keep Deadpool as it is. You can't affect the ratings. You can't try to Disneyfy it. Like it's its own.
I'm not even worried about the CGI anymore. Like elongated man on the Flash looks good enough.
Right, but
for
here's the
TV
whole-
even.
X-Men Dark Phoenix is supposed to be a game changer for the superhero genre. They're saying they brought all new stuff to it, all new special effects, everything else like that. But here's the thing: it's like it's not going to matter.
I don't care at all.
Because none of the characters are going to go forward with it. Like you know that they're going to reboot the X-Men universe totally. So
I say you take like you yeah.
They're done.
Danny writes he wants Silver Surfer in the MCU. We all do.
We need to be purged of that filthy rapist's whole Marvel universe.
Brett Singer.
Yeah.
Okay, so you realize that he gave us. This is where
Logan.
It's fine. It's tainted.
What? It's not tainted. It is tainted. You just feel like off camera he's diddling a kid. Like every scene, like every time, like it just
He's the
reframes
worst villain in the whole series.
Think about Professor X being ripped apart in The Last Stand when he's like, "Don't let them turn you." You can just tell he's talking to a 6-year-old off screen. It's like, "Don't keep these secrets."
I think about that Rick and Morty episode where it's like they can never know about the king.
Oh yeah, let them remember him for the hero he was, not the monster we know him for. King Jellybean. Hey everybody, I'm King Jellybean.
I'd say wipe the slate clean and move forward with a clean universe.
Really, but
I can't do that. It's just his.
But you can put it to bed and like it It was its thing, and now it's done.
So I just want to take a quick speculation here before we get into anything further. Who do you guys think could be a possible villain for next season of Flash? Because now that we're bringing in Dawn Allen, I think that we're going to be bringing in some more future stuff.
Man, I would just like to see Grodd more as like a season-long villain. Or you know what?
Well, he's going to come out to Legends.
Damn Rogues, please.
Really?
Why not?
I think you do it. Like, now that he's got his own team,
I think that's
do a
true.
full season of Flash versus Rogues.
Just the Rogues, yeah.
Why
I would
not?
love that. They have all the Rogues there.
You could literally do your team-up episodes and your individual
Recast Captain
villains.
Cold.
Why not,
Yeah,
dude? But
I would.
I got to tell you, I loved him so much as Citizen Cold.
So good.
He's way better of any other iteration that they've had him on that show as Citizen Cold. Like, just a Barry, need a hug. Like, just the little things. Like, it's called due process.
Yeah.
Like, but just little moments, man. I got to tell you, but I have no faith they'll be renewed. Black Lightning, though, is the one that you
think
guys
Flash
need to
won't
be
get
watching.
renewed?
No, I think they will. I don't think Arrow and Legends. I think Legends is the. I think
Well,
Wally could be the decider for Legends. I
Okay.
think if they go strong with him, but you got to remember the back half of these seasons is without Kreisberg, so it's like that's a huge hit.
But even outside of that, here's the thing with this, and I will say it to the high heavens, and this is for anybody who's you have to shorten up seasons. You cannot have 26 seasons.
I think you go with Supergirl does an 18. I think 18 is a tight season. Gifted did 12.
Yeah,
and it was
and that's what I'm saying. Go with because
and it was a 2-hour finale.
Yeah, you go with a 12 episode season because I feel one of the things is you'll get more bang for your buck for special effects. 2, you have to tell a better, more succinct story, and you will not get the crappy filler episodes.
So many filler
episodes with like villain of the week or flavor of the week.
And Arrow ones are terrible.
It's like, and
Those
the
are
whole
so
thing is
bad.
with this, and the big thing what I would say about this, Arrow was good up until the point. Not to say that it's not going to Flash, but the moment they, like you had always talked about, the moment they got to the Flash,
They got
they
rid of
just
it,
was
yeah.
like it was like all the things.
But
that
you hear it, like when you hear them tell the story, they're like, we really only made Arrow to get to the Flash.
It really is like yes. So now
That was your starting
Arrow is like
line.
the green-headed stepchild sitting in the corner.
He's the good son. He goes into the good son. Just
let
let
you go. Think
By
of
your
the
side,
father.
he's like, I'm going to burn this whole thing to the ground.
So it's like, but
I'm just tired of it's Felicity and Friends, the
Yeah,
series. I can't stand it.
It really is.
So
and
bad.
I think they just need to like that's a show where I think they
Everyone
need to kind
knows
of
who he
just
is.
burn. They need to burn that show to the ground and start from the ground up again.
Bring Felicity and Oliver over to Flash.
Why don't they just redo it as goddamn Batman?
Dude, Gotham,
Please.
man, they're stepping up their game. So we'll see. Joker's coming to Gotham in March. The real Joker, not Jerome, the one they've had on there, the proto
Jerome
Joker.
wasn't the Joker?
No, he was the proto. He was the inspiration for the Joker.
Yeah, all right.
Well, no, if you watch the episode where he like takes over, like he does this big inspirational speech that would literally is like the Joker's pledge of allegiance that he must play on repeat of like what it means to bring chaos to the city and for like it's just it's
Sounds
absolutely.
like a Howard Pass for me, mate.
I don't know, man. I still have to watch because it's like that. It's like that messed up
Completionist.
cousin that everyone has that you still got to talk to
No,
at the
it's
family
not. It's
reunion.
not even a bit. It's like how is it still alive?
It's not an interesting
Dude,
time in
they've
Batman's
recast
storyline.
Poison Ivy four
times, right?
times.
Yeah.
4 times. They had her as a kid, then they had her for an adult, then they had her as a different adult, and now they've got her as the chick that played Golden Glider on Flash.
Wang.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, no.
Peyton List, I think her name is.
No. Okay.
Robert's just with it.
Shut it down.
But before
Yeah.
we get on here, he goes, the only reason they do Arrow is because they can't do Batman for sure. But that's the thing is they just name dropped Bruce Wayne on Arrow for the first time.
No, they've named dropped
named dropped him a couple times.
A couple
Oh, really?
times.
Yeah.
So like the first episode of Flash where they talked about like the first episode where they did the crossover where Barry was the Flash, and it was like Harrison Wells is like we don't want to be stuck with the Arrow or the Batman. You're like. It's like
And then even Legends is mentioned. He's like, I've said Men of Steel fall and Dark Knight's Rise.
Yeah,
like,
and Barry on Earth 2 has Bruce and Clark's and Hell's
and
Number.
Hell.
Yeah.
Just seeing like the amount of times they've name dropped Coast City and Green Lantern, it is heart wrenching.
That it hasn't shown up.
It's heart wrenching.
Yeah.
And like the hardest part for me to watch is every time they do the Tachyon device where he starts off in Coast City, they show the billboard and the billboard says, in brightest day,
Yep.
in blackest night,
So that
visit
means
Coast
he's
City
already,
when money's tight.
He's already Green Lantern.
That's
right?
what, so like, and they've been like that.
Well, there was also an episode of The Flash where like that pilot disappeared.
Yeah, they're at the Ferris abandoned factory.
Yeah.
Like, why did this place go abandoned? He goes, one of their test pilots went missing. And then there's the moment on Arrow where they're in the bar and the guy in the Jordan Air Bergman's jacket is back, and like they've dropped it a couple times and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, what are you doing to me? Just give it to us, like, especially with how long you're taking
I
with the
want
movie.
to tease you with just the tip.
It's the worst. Like, it is the worst prom night, just the tip game that's ever been played. Like, it's come on, man. Like, you got me begging for it, like a Bill Cosby victim. Like,
And that's it for this week. Good night, everybody.
and that was the last episode of Get Your Geek On.
Okay, so no.
With the quaaludes and the jello pudding.
No, just stop.
I call it the
Just-
Hold on. Last one. I call it the Cosmopolitan.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys. I think that's a perfect place to wrap things up for this week. Before we do the poll of the week, where we take a look at the best comic books out every week, mine, I have 2 sets here, and it's the last 3 issues of Flash and Hal Jordan. This week's Hal Jordan, they're taking on Zod, and he is no joke. Like, it's the first issue of the Zod arc, and then Flash, Anthony, the
Grodd.
boys right there on the cover, man, going back to Grodd. They just had a great Captain Cold arc, and then now they're going to Grodd, and Hal Jordan is going to the Krypton battle, and I think that's where we're going to see like the death of the Green Lantern Corps covers that we got for next month. And then the very, very disappointing news that Anthony told us in our group chat, and I was like, there's no way it's true. Googled it. Doomsday Clock being pushed to bi-monthly.
2 years, kids.
After dropping a dope episode this week in issue 3, like where you get
So
to see
good.
who the new Rorschach is, you get to see how the comedian came back, and like you set up these great things, and now you're like, really? It's gonna be a year and a half to get through this series now? Like, that is heart-wrenching for
Hopefully
me.
they catch up and they switch it back to a monthly schedule.
But then again, it's like that whole, they're like,
Well, it's
we
like-
want to give you the 32 pages of like quality issue. I'm like, really? Because I feel like that whole Harley and Joker thing could have been cut out of this issue.
That whole
Of them being
the
in the
Harlequins
alternate,
were
like
obnoxious.
if it seems like they're in the Watchmen's universe, like they've been somehow sucked into the Watchmen's universe while Rorschach has been sucked into ours. But like that's the thing, is it's a new Rorschach, and I really like that. But then Batman turning on him at the end,
That was great.
That
also,
was-
the Batsuit
oh dude,
looks great.
love it.
Garrett Frank dressed a really good Batman.
But
Jesus.
really interesting stuff. So obviously DC is
No.
still killing it. So obviously check out those issues.
One thing I wanted to bring up, because we had talked about a couple weeks ago before this one. Have you seen the trailer for Batman Ninja?
Batman,
Yeah. Looks
And
awesome.
Gotham by Gaslight is out, which I'll watch and we'll be able to review next week. But
So that's where, if you want, I would say, if you're looking to get into some form of anime before they destroy it with some kind of movie that should never ever be made, I'm looking at you, Ghost in the Shell and Battle
you know
Angel
what
Legend.
anime movie, the 4th one of 7 is coming out in English, is Digimon Tri.
What?
Yeah, do you know what Digimon Tri is?
No.
So you remember the
third
original Digimon show, the one we grew up with?
Yeah.
Like the badass Digimon.
Sure.
So those kids, now 20 years later, as functioning adults and stuff like that, the digital world has been reopened, and they've been reunited with their original Digimon. And they have to do all their battles in the real world. And it's a 7-part movie. Like, each one's a 2-hour movie. And like they're finally releasing part 4. They do them as like those Fathom events in theaters. Dude, it is so cool. They got like most of the original voice cast to return and else like that. But seeing like the original, like Anjumon was my favorite, because if you remember, TK was a little kid in the series, and he had the little one that would never digivolve. And then like in the final episode of the first season, he became Anjumon, like the human-looking one. I loved that series all the way through. Like, and
I liked it too when I was younger. Anyway.
but you can buy like the little necklace symbols that they use to digivolve and everything on
Oh, yeah, I
Amazon.
forgot about those.
But dude, that was the shit. Like, I had a Tamagotchi real quick growing up, but I had
I like Digimon,
I
yeah.
had Digimon, where you lock up with your buddies and fight, like, and throwing those fireballs from screen to screen. But like, I loved that TV show way more than I loved Pokemon growing up. I was a Digimon kid,
I
so
liked Pokemon.
oh dude, no way.
still
I
like
thought
Pokemon.
it was way too gay.
Digimon,
I still like
digital
Pokemon.
monsters.
I'm like, he
Digimon
never
brother
loses.
champions. Yeah, that's just-
Yeah, it was
He
like-
loses all the time.
But anybody he beats, or anybody that beats him, he just recruits.
Yeah.
Like Brock and Misty whooped his ass, and then next thing you know, joined his team. Like,
They want him to be the best.
it's like Kevin Durant going to the Warriors. It just doesn't make sense to me. So
It's all just it's like a purgatory.
there you go. But so yeah, the perfect place. Next week we'll be able to bring you guys the Gotham by Gaslight review and some great news as well. And we're gonna be checking out Comic Skin, and our new sponsor Audible.com will be launching next week. So
What?
yeah, we'll have some audio comics to give away. So check out for those.
Okay.
So yeah, big
Whoa.
news there. That's gonna be a fun sponsor to have here, where we'll have weekly giveaways of digital comics. So
What?
Yeah, that's gonna be really fun to add on. And wrap up here. So other than that, you guys obviously leave us any comments, anything that you want for the show, any guests that you're looking for us to get. So we're in contact right now. We're hopefully looking to have Jeremy Johns on at some point after Black Panther, the movie reviewer, to do a review with him. we'll see how that goes. But other than that, make sure you guys check us out on Nerd Herder live every week. Check out our new original shows, What's Poppin' with Jamie and Bird and the Nerd. And as always, leave us any comments of anything that you guys would be looking forward to, want us to talk about, or want us to do for giveaways. So for this week's episode of the Get Your Geek On podcast, we want to thank our special guest host, even though we couldn't get him on by camera, my best friend on the planet, Daniel Beatty, for giving us his insight and comic knowledge. Look forward to having him on the show next week for sure, and look forward to our home show that him and I will be doing, talking about some comics as well. So this week's episode of Get Your Geek On, I've been Chuck Kiwacz. Silence falls again.
Silence falls.
Silence will fall.
Yes, and then Robert Dokes and Anthony Arsenio are out, so you guys make sure you have yourselves a week. And stay away from the rip and ride roller coaster at Universal Studios, which will get you stuck on it.
You got something out of that, though.
Yeah, really.
I love you.
Love you guys. Have a great week, guys. Go Pats. Woo woo!